Oh, hey everybody! Welcome back to Slaughtercraft. Today we're going to be hanging out and making a new build in the shopping district. So if you're ready, let's go have some fun. Now since our last episode, I finally had the chance to do some catch-up work, and the first thing that I did was I finally started putting down some real blocks out here, and it's crazy how much of a difference it makes. But that's not all, because we finally made an interior for this place. It's nothing crazy, but I got sick and tired of looking at just the stone walls, like back here in the corner, and so I wanted to throw down something. I'm not actually certain if this is the palette that I'm going to continue using for this place, but on top of that, this is where we used to have the elevator, which we did in our last episode, but now I've actually raised it up a little bit, as well as lowered it, but now we're going to access it from over here, and as you can see right now, it is all the way down at the bottom. So you know what, if we just go ahead and do this. It should start raising up, and here we are. Wait, what? What? How did you guys get down there? You're ruining the surprise. But anyways, I've also replaced these copper blocks up here with stairs. So now when we use this, we no longer take damage. But anyways, if we use this, we'll head on down. We still bounce. You have to deal with the bouncing, but we'll head on down to where we did a little bit more work. You can kind of see it now. In fact, I love this view. But we also designed this sweet little staircase. And obviously it is not complete, because if we take a look over here in the corner, it's floating and it just has missing blocks. Well, whatever, it's a start. And now that I've bored most of you away, we need to go pick up one more resource for today's build. And for that, we are going to have to take a look at a pale garden. Wow! Well, now since we've gotten that taken care of, let's go ahead and go leave a message for the Chicken King really quick, and then I'll meet you all over at the shopping district.
What?
Ooh! Made you jump! Okay, so here's the deal. Oh, by the way, this is also weeks later because I decided to go on vacation and then I got super deathly ill. So if I sound horrible, please be patient with me. And if I don't sound horrible, I can't tell because my ears are absolutely completely clogged. Anyways, so what we're going to do today is we are going to actually try our attempt at making the building or the restaurant in Bob's Burgers. And I'm hoping it's going to be awesome, but I had so many resources I had to go collect. So all we have are all of these things, which actually isn't everything. Some stuff is here in my ender chest, and a little bit here in my inventory, but I'm super excited for this. So as I said earlier, grab your snacks, put up your legs, get ready to relax. Let's have some fun. Wait a second. Was that really a time lapse that we all just watched? If you've been around for a while, you'll realize that it has been absolute ages, I mean years, since we've done a time lapse. Because frankly, back in the day, that's when everyone would click away. So I'd also like to just quickly ask you, the viewers, for some help. To my subscribers, thank you so much for being here. You guys are absolute rock stars. If you enjoy the content, please, it would be awesome if you could just hit that like button. And for those that may be curious, they're 100% anonymous. Like, there's no visibility on likes. So if you want to be a little, secret little lurker, that's fine. You can still hit the like button. There's no problem with that. Because honestly, I would freak out to see one of my Slaughtercraft videos actually get like 25 plus likes. That would be awesome. And then as for my non-subscribers, if you see yourself constantly coming back, what are you doing? Just hit that subscribe. It would really help me out. Anyways, enough for the begging. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we've done. Okay, so now one of the things I wanted to challenge myself with this build was working with light. Something that I have very little experience with. And to do so, I actually gave myself some rules about this build, which we'll kind of talk about. But the first thing I want to show you, my favorite thing about this entire build, are these windows right here. And what I love about them is it actually feels like that they kind of like glow because of the lighting on the inside. So as you see, like we have these greener window panes right here, and then we have these yellow window panes, which kind of feel like they're coming off of like this corner up here and just casting a little bit of a glow down. And then we have a little bit of a darkened edge and the dark edge over there. And I just love what it looks like when you kind of walk back and forth. And we also kind of did the same thing up above. So for example, I kind of imagine that this sign right here is actually giving off some light. And so what we can see is we have, the lighter yellow panes right here on the edge, and then it gets over here darker, which actually then matches up with the really darkened textures that we have over here on the side. And then likewise with these windows, if this is giving off some light, we have some yellow panes right there, and then it gets a little bit darker over here in the corner. And then where this is blocking everything off, it gets really dark, continues casting over into this window. And then we have this light up here, which is kind of shedding down right down into the corner. And so we have a little bit of a yellow pane right there as well. And we did that all around the building. So even over here on the side, we have the light casting over from the sign up here, right down into the window. So we have the yellow and then the darker green on the sides. And then over here, we also have get off there. And then over here, we also have kind of the same thing, except for I went a little rogue because we have dark windows, but I also gave some lighting around the windows. So with that, I kind of feel like we have a perfect segue into some of the rules that I gave myself for this build. And so part of those rules is the light lime concrete, or the concrete powder right here, is what I was using for like the brightest colors. And then we have the dark, or the green terracotta, which I was using for the darker shades. And so part of that rule that I gave myself is I didn't want any of this lime concrete powder to be touching the normal green. And then I immediately see that I ruined that rule right there. But that's fine. I can deviate a little bit. So then when we need to just, when we don't want to be as light, we want to start fading out, I then started using the wool. And then this is kind of just the natural color. And then for our dark colors, we did the bamboo and the green terracotta. So as you can see over here under the scaffolding, I imagine this kind of gives some shade. So we have some darker colors underneath. I also imagine that this is kind of where water would run off and kind of starts, coloring the walls. And so we also have some of the trap doors a little weathered. And then we basically have it set up to look like, water is kind of like rained down below and has kind of discolored the walls. And then over here, kind of in addition to what we were talking about the windows, if this sign, if I'm imagining that this is giving off light, then we kind of have a little bit of a lighter texturing around it. Same with underneath here. This is giving off light, so we have a big long strand of just the really bright textures right here, as well as underneath we have a line of end rods. And so I imagine all of this is going to be like very bright and vibrant, and then it's only kind of on the edges or, you know, down lower where we actually start to darken up a little bit. And then over here on this side, I absolutely love this graffiti. It's so awesome. Chicken King is going to love it. I mean, I kind of figure that I have my place around this place enough. For example, we got my face there. We got my face up over there. We got my face. Wait, where else do I have my face? I don't know. I got my name on the side of this building. Like there's enough. So I decided to do a little bit of graffiti of Chicken King over here. And what I love about it is how it's actually like dripping down onto the ground. And we also have this little spot right here under his chin. This kind of like dripping off like I used too much paint. And then right up here, probably my second, third, I don't know, one of my other favorite parts of the entire build is this big, huge burger billboard. I decided to do a little bit more playing around with glass panes to see what I could do with, you know, lighting and just texture and what it looks like. And I have to say, I just absolutely love it. So this is casting a lot of light down. So we have a whole bunch of light colors right here. I inverted it a little bit. So instead of having the green wool, right, or the lime green wool right next to the crown, I kind of feel like this just, because of the brightness of it, of the yellow, that it kind of, you know, is a little reflective. So instead we did the concrete powder around the crown and then kind of darkened it up a little bit, but I still feel like it casts some great lighting around the sides. And then of course, you know, it gets a little bit darker down here to the edge. We have some leftover spray paint bottles around here from whoever came by and did this. I'm going to say it was the Chicken King that did it, but he doesn't know that yet. And then as for the front of the building, I know we've taken a look at it a few times now, but I took some creative liberties. You know, it's not identical to what we see in Bob's Burgers, but I feel like it's a really good representation. For example, in Bob's Burgers, there's actually like a little like power outlet, like right in front of the front door. So we have this little, you know, copper rod there to kind of signify that. I decided that, you know, it seems fitting that, you know, on a busy boardwalk street that there would maybe be some like little vending machines or something out front. And we have a little ice bin for people who could be like, hey, you know, I don't want a burger, but I need some ice. And then I just absolutely love the signage. I know it doesn't say Bob's Burgers. It's like Bob Argers, but whatever. It's a little dilapidated. That's kind of what I was hoping for. And I swear there's actually a sign on the front of Bob's Burgers that you never see because it's always straight on. And so I feel like this is a really good, you know, adaptation. I decided that's Bob. I think that's Bob. We'll consider it Bob for now on. And then I'm really happy with how these signs came. And to be honest, the purple and the crimson wood, I think goes so great with the green. And it actually doesn't really clash that much with like the red and the yellow, but I love it. And then up here we have a few like air conditioning units. We have one for the front of the building. We have one for the side. I even think over here on the other side that we actually have another one. Yeah, we do. We have another one. And those actually have, here, I'll show you some behind the scenes of stuff that we haven't finished yet. Thankfully I remember to light this up because I probably would have just blown everything up with the creeper. But the air conditioning units are just observers. Oh, I guess the other one is into the wall. And that's fine. Maybe that one's not an air conditioning unit. It's just piping. But anyways, now let's actually take a look at the inside of the restaurant. And, you know, first I'll wait to sleep. Okay, and now for the interior. And to be honest, you might not believe this because of how awful the interior was at the beginning of the episode for like my starter base. It's been much later now since I did that, and I no longer like it. So it'll definitely be changing. But I promise what you're about to see is fantastic. So anyways, here's the interior. Walking in is quite a joy. I don't know why I like it so much. I feel like it's a really great transition. We have paintings all over the place. And by the way, Mojang, if you could find a way to make it easier to, I don't know, like choose which painting you want to be able to put it up, so I don't have to just like sit here spamming, 20 pictures, until I get the right one. That would be, fantastic. I would give you all hugs for it. But anyways, so we have a whole bunch of booths over here on the side. This eventually is going to be like a restroom, but right now it's just nothing. Whatever you do, don't go to the bathroom in there. We have some leftover. We have some like ketchup bottles. We have some food. It's a pickle, but it's I don't know. It's like a drink. And we also have cups. We have some mustard bottles. Over here at the bar, we have some stools. This is probably where Teddy would be. If you're a fan of Bob's Burgers, you know. And then over here for the cash register, oh, I forgot to put a book down. But there's going to be a book here, and I actually used a pillager banner because I feel like it's probably the closest thing we have to a computer screen. And we got a little bit of a brewer. We got some cabinets up here with some, clean water bottles. Or, I guess, clean ketchup bottles, something that could be filled up with ketchup and mustard later. We got some cake. Everyone loves cake. I did a little sign for, this is like someone came by and put up like we need this order. So it's soup of the day over at table 2. I don't know which one is table 2, but the soup of the day is rabbit stew. Which, this is my first time making rabbit stew in Minecraft. And, doesn't it look delicious? I think I would actually eat that. It looks really good. I love how these tables and chairs turned out. I just put down some redstone blocks underneath and then some pistons. Feel like it's great. You could kind of even like get in here and crouch. Kind of okay. You're huge. I guess it's not very realistic trying to sit in here, but whatever. You can pretend. And then in the back of the building, they do have some piping. So I tried to create a little bit of a representation of what I think piping would look like in Minecraft. And then back here in the kitchen, all kitchens have like those rubber block floor mats. So of course we got to have that around. And then right here in the back, we also have, a little fridge, like a workspace to do like cutting vegetables and whatnot. We got our grill over here with the air vents up above. I don't know why I have the smoker here, but the smoker's here. Feel like it kind of works. And then eventually, for what we're going to do in later episodes, is I kind of want to set up like a secret entrance over here where you have to, I don't know, complete some sort of like combination lock or whatnot. And then it's going to drop you down into like a speakeasy or just something entirely different. I don't know. Maybe this is where we're going to do our resin shop. Which, speaking of which, stay tuned for the next episode because we are going to be making an absolutely insane resin farm. Like resin farming like the GOAT, like Doc M77 himself. It's going to be fantastic. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the plans are going to be the speakeasy below because the restaurant up here, I know we're in the shopping district, but this up here is actually going to be just a facade. I don't actually plan on selling anything within here. But like I said, I plan on having something underneath, a little secret society where you could go buy. I'll figure it out. It's either going to be resin or gold, but the shop is going to be secret and it's going to be awesome. But anyways, friends, I think this is where I'm going to have to call it for the day. At some point, I'm going to have to actually go through and, decorate the outside so that it doesn't look like we just have a building just plop down into Minecraft world. It's like one of those cardinal things that drives me crazy, but it's also funny that I say it drives me crazy because every single build that I have made this season is just plopped down in Minecraft world with like no terraforming or no like decoration of the outside. But I figure eventually, Chicken King and I are going to decide on what we want to do with pathing for the shopping district. And then at that point, I figure we could go around and actually start, really blending the buildings with the environment. What was that noise? Did you guys hear that? What was that? What was that noise? I swear there was something I heard. Like an item frame popping off. But it's just me. So it's ghosts. Spooky. But anyways, friends, I love you to death. Thank you all for coming and hanging out. I hope you have an absolute wonderful rest of your day. And I will see you in the next episode. Laters!